Well, hello there, magic monsters. I totally just forgot to bring my mic down again. That's the second time in a row I saw the clip on the mic go to red, so I apologize if I just blew up your earballs, your eardrums. Earballs. Anyways, hello, magic monsters. Welcome to the stream. Glad you're here. Let me type hello in the YouTube chat. What are we doing today? Well, I'm going to start by showing you where I left off, which is also going to remind me where I left off yesterday before I left to go play some board games with my friends. Let's see. I know I did some stuff since the last stream, so we're just going to do the debug start to get through that and see what we have. Oh, yes, this was broken. That's right. Because... well, let me show you the demo world, and it's not going to have the black bar here because it's not on by default. But so you can see, I've got textures now in the scene. So I just made these real quick myself and substance stuff. Then we got this.
Oh. Well, do you have
all right. So
sweet
oh shit! Why did I do that? Interesting. I shouldn't have been here. I think I've got some reload. Yeah, I've got some reload issues because I shouldn't be right here. But if I reload, does all my other stuff go? Yeah, my stuff goes. So something's going on with my positioning on the reload, but that's okay. So let me just get through this quest here. All right. And then we got our little pillars here. See, they're not like stone pillars. Oh, and by the way, it's hard to tell, but these look a little nicer too. I've added normal maps to them. They're not the best. They're not perfect. They're just automatically generated from Substance Alchemist, but they provide a little bit more liveliness to otherwise flatness. And same with this guy over here. He actually may have come out one of the best. But anyways. So now if we go through his quest. Okay, we're going to find the puppy. Puppy's over here. We'll get the puppy while it's still alive. Alright, then the door opens. And now behind the door we've got... that going on. So it doesn't explode yet. But we've got this going on, which is pretty neat. And you can see it in the scene view. Oh, there it is. In the scene view. We got this ball that's just kind of floating there, shooting off magic attacks or something. But the thing that I wanted to highlight, and this is actually why it's all zoomed out like this too, you see them going off there in the distance. They're not colliding right now or anything like that, so that's something to do. But they go off the distance. They destroy themselves after 10 seconds. When they're instantiated, they're just set to destroy in 10 seconds. But we can save the game using our debug option here. There we go. And let me just go ahead and wait for one to be there, and then we'll click save, and then we'll reload the level again, and it should, there we go. Now it should be having them, yeah, so there's already one in the middle when we reload the level. So that's great. But in the process of that, and it really is great, I have to say, I'm very happy with it. To be specific, it's exciting because the projectiles aren't in the scene, so they're being saved and then instantiated yet again by the casting object itself, which is nice and neat and all that stuff, which is right here. The magic caster it's a savable object itself, and it's got in its script that saves and loads every savable thing that is quote unquote savable. And it's a demo enemy is savable, so this inherits from demo enemy. Magic pedestal. It's got its own overriding save and load somewhere, save state and load state, and its own little magic pedestal save data where it's keeping a list of the important bits from the existing magic particles, their move forward script, which is the thing that controls their speed, and if they have a target, their target, and then the particle magic ball itself, which is the other stuff, and the counter at which is keeping track of when it's going to shoot another magic ball. And it saves those on itself right here, but first it gets a list of all the existing ones. It clears any destroyed ones, and then it clears these two lists, creates a JSON string for those values we want to save. So these actually do have a save state and a load state, just like anything else that's iSaveable, but it doesn't have a savable object on it because the objects aren't in the scene, so there would be nothing to load because they don't exist in the scene when the scene's loaded. So we save it here, but we use the same format of save state and load state. And then we just save those, and these are the two lists of strings. And then on the load state, we load all the data, including the two lists of strings, and then we do the set particles, which is basically for each particle, instantiate it, set the data, and we're all good. So there you go. So that's exciting. But the part of all this I realized, now that I'm doing a demo again, it's going quite snappy. But yesterday when I was doing it, it was actually lagging a little bit on the save and load. And I realized that probably was just Unity being Unity. And where's this bug? And this is still happening. I don't know what this means or why, but it doesn't seem to be causing any problems. It just is. Anyways, the point is that I think we need a method on the save and load, and I started building this yesterday. On the save and load, we need this method called, or rather a property called isLoaded. And this will happen when the scene is finished loading. And that way other scripts can avoid doing their thing until the scene is loaded. So as an example, in our magic pedestal, we have our counter. And when the counter, it's got this IEnumerator shoot. When the counter goes down to -0, so if it's, as long as it's above 0, then we just keep counting down. But otherwise, it will fire a new projectile. And now we can have this here that says, hey, if save and load is not loaded, so if it's not loaded yet, then do nothing. And so all of our scripts that do stuff that might start doing them on load, we'll just wait until the scene is loaded, and then they'll all start doing their action. So this will be like the one, hey, wait until this is done, everybody, before you go, and this is the green light for everything to start moving. And part of that, my thinking was, in the fade to black, and I think I made a note for myself. I did make a note for myself. Is that I was thinking, well, it should stay black until it's fully loaded. Once it's fully loaded, then it fades out. And that will happen only when isLoaded returns true. So it wasn't working. When I tried to load the scene from the character creation scene and it stayed black, that's because this wasn't firing. isLoaded never became true. And so what was my note? This should work simply because each time we load a scene, it should load that data, even if we have not been there before. But after the creation scene, well, I guess that should load too. So do we need an object to load data at start? Probably on scene was loaded. Yep. And so I think what we need to do is go to our save and load right here. And we have the load method, which is just load. Very straightforward. Right now it's currently being called when the main menu continue button is clicked, the main menu saved game button got clicked. Both of those will load data. And then the save and load last game. This happens from this other script. Whoops. Let me get back there. This happens from this other script. Load last saved data. Check on date. Check on data. So this one basically says load a scene if there's if we can. That's all it is. And that's the thing that loads the data when we press play here. It's going to load the last saved data. So when we press play, we should be back over in this area with the projectile going off. There we go. So it loads our data back from wherever we saved last. So that's the gist of it there. So I think what we should probably do is do a on level is loaded event that will automatically load data. That's what I'm thinking. I'm talking it through because I want to make sure I'm not. It might not work. We can always change it. But what I'm thinking is on level was loaded. We start the process, and that also marks is loaded equals false. And so we set is loaded on right here. So this happens on fade to black when we're about to move to a scene, right before we move to a scene. And then load scene, and then what we don't do, and this is I think an oversight of myself previously, is loading data when we load the scene, because just because you've loaded a scene, you're coming into a scene doesn't mean the data just works. It all has to be loaded still. So either way, we need to do the load method to load the settings of where all the enemies were, what the status of all the treasures are, and other things like that. So I think what we need to do is say on scene was loaded. So let's do that. We'll do that here underneath. Underneath write to console. We're going to do private void on scene was loaded. How do we do that? Is that the right thing? I don't think that's the right thing. Let's ask our good friend and colleague, chat.openai.com. Can you give me some sample code in Unity for on scene was loaded? And it will remind me of what the heck I'm forgetting about. Have you used ChatGPT for this purpose yet? It's very helpful. It's generally faster, I found, than Googling something and trying to see if the answer is correct. Oh, that's right, Scene Manager. That's what we're looking for. All right, on enable. Do we not have an on enable for this? I guess not. Let's see. Okay, I guess let's make one. We'll do that. We'll do private void on enable. I also would suggest whenever using ChatGPT to type things out, because that muscle memory only happens when you type things out rather than copy pasting. Let's see. Scene manager dot scene loaded plus equals on scene was loaded. And on disable private void on disable, not on destroy. Scene manager dot scene loaded minus equals, if I can type, on scene was loaded. And then on scene when load, that's right, we need to get the scene and load scene mode is mode. Okay. And then we do something with that. Perfect. So I'm just going to throw this over here and throw this over here so it's a little bit skinnier, because my scripts wear skinny jeans. And so now on scene was loaded, we're basically going to say, oh great, a scene was loaded, let's load the data from this scene. And to load the data, we're just going to load the data. And any object that's savable in the scene will be found and will get its stuff updated. If something in the saved data is not in the scene, then it will just be skipped. I.e., the saved data will have all the stuff from all the other scenes that don't exist in the scene, and they'll just be skipped over. So first thing we're going to do is say set is loaded to false, and then we're going to load. What's our options in load? Save game ID. Well, what's our last? We're going to load last game. And so that should give us, let's see, load last game file, save game ID. We should double check that when we push those other ones, when we do continue and stuff, that we ensure this would call those. Last game file is the last one. It's literally the first file in the list. So that might not actually work. This works for, let's see, check on data. Okay, let me think. So this might not actually work. We want to get the current scene. Do we have the current scene saved? I think we do. I think we do. Let's see. Do we have it? Do we have it? Do we have it? Game name. Nope, not game name. It's save game ID. Get save ID. And yeah, okay, so save game ID. This should be this one. So instead, we're going to say load and pass in our ID. And then at the end of the load, we should set is load is true. Turns out we also set it false here. So I think we can just do this. Yeah, and we'll probably have to update our other calls to save and load to use the same method to basically say pass in the set the save game ID to the right one, and then we load. But we can do that another time. Let's see if this magically breaks or works. One of the two. It should do something, and it's going to be magical. Press play. Again, we should be over in this area. That was the last save. We are. That's good. Everything seemed to work as expected, which is also a good thing. Yeah. Do you like this ball? It rotates in random ways. It's got two scripts on it. One to make it just randomly rotate at different speeds, different directions with different timing, and then also a little hover that kind of goes up and down. ChatGPT helped me with both of those scripts to make them a little bit better than I had them already. I'm a fan. All right. Okay. So then the question is, will that be enough to get our stuff working? So if we go back to our scenes, our character creation scene, press play. We're looking to see that oh, it worked, but we do have bugs. But it also worked, so that's nice. We got better than nothing. Player object, what's going on here? Oh, you know what? I bet it's because... Let's see. 44. What's this? Character controller is not available? Character controller is not available. Alright, well, let's see. We are doing at start, character controller get component. Huh? Why would that not work? Let's see. Where did that bug come in? Not here. All right. Demo start. Interesting. Let's see. There must be more to the story then. What's the other one? Same thing. Is it because we're now loading twice? Let's see. We are loading twice. Okay, we'll have to fix that too. So we're loading twice, and then this isn't suddenly not being found. And that is interesting. Let's see why it's not being found. We certainly changed something that's making it do something. And this isn't loading. Okay. So, on-scene was loaded. That makes sense. Load all states. So it's loading the saved data. Okay. Savable is loading a state, and game data is starting a coroutine at the end of the load state, loading the player position. That's important. Okay. And then the coroutine starts, right? It's a start coroutine, so load player position. And then we got 230, which is set rotation and set position. And okay. And then we get to here, which is in set rotation, character controller enabled. All right, so let's see. Character controller happens on start. So what we're going to do is add a property here. Private character controller. character controller equals get character controller. Get character controller. So I like doing this sometimes because it means we can kind of do something here. We can say if, and we'll make this shorter too, if character controller is not equal to null, then return character controller. And this is not right. There we go. Otherwise, we're going to say character controller equals get component character controller, and then return character controller. But we can make this shorter by doing this. I've learned this recently, so I'm enjoying using it. We're going to say character controller, and then 2 question marks and equal. That says if it's null, then assign it to this thing on the right, whatever we put to the right, and then return it. And so now we put our get component character controller here, and that line does what all of these lines did. So it's basically saying, hey, get character controller is going to return the character controller if it's not null. Otherwise, if it's null, then it will assign and then return the value of this. And why is this saying static? Can I just do this instead? Nope. Is character controller static? No. Why is this doing this? Why is it static context? Hi, Tech Dave. Both code for the demo and the asset. So save and load is a new module being worked on. And so the demo scene is basically dog fooding the whole project, ensuring that it works the way I expect it to work, ensuring that I understand at least a little bit on how it works and how to best use it, adding features that I think are needed or helpful, making things optimized and automated, etc., etc. Why can't I assign it here? Why can't I assign this? Why is this saying it can't access non-static method get character controller? Why does get character controller have to be static? Because I don't understand why it would have to be static. Is it because I have the same name? Let's change this to controller. No. Nope, that doesn't do it. I don't know, Pixel Shenanigans. By the way, I love the word shenanigans. It's a very fun word. I feel like I've had this issue before, and then I just changed the code and it worked, and so I'm wondering why. Let's see if ChatGPT knows. So what's the error here? Cannot access non-static method in a stack context. Let's see. We'll give it all of this. In this code, the error is that... What is the error again? We cannot access non-static method in stack. We cannot access static method get character controller in a non-static context. I don't think the method is static. Why? And let's see what it thinks. You can only assign constants, right? I'm not sure what that means. being called as if we're a static method, but is not defined as static. It is. Oh. But I'm not trying to get a new one. No. This says in this example, get character controller method is called at the start method, which is a non-static method and it can access the non-static members. So make sure that get controller method is called only after the object is instantiated. Or, yeah. Okay, we're going to ignore the start because I think once we have this, it will go away. But, This makes no sense to me. New get character controller makes no sense to me. Let's see. Controller equals get character controller. Okay, well let's see. It's saying to do private void start. And then controller's just nothing. And just like that. I guess. I unfortunately am also unsure what you mean by doing that assignment in the constructor. This appears to be unused, but let's see now if we just do this and this and this and this. It's now being used, so I guess maybe this is working. I'm just did I just have the wrong... You know what? Freaking shit. You know what I did? I had equals. That was the issue. The issue... I feel silly. The issue was that I did this and not this. Well, there you go, everybody. By the way, thank you for joining the stream. I see there's a good number of people here, so thanks for watching. That was the issue, is I just typoed it. I just didn't notice that I was missing this little tiny arrow to make that work properly. So now we don't need this in the start, which was part of the point, is to get rid of it from the start. So now when controller is called, we're going to get character controller, and if character controller, the private character controller value there, is populated, it will return that. Otherwise, if it's not populated, it will assign whatever's over here to that value and then return it. So that is a nicer way of doing this. So now, let's see if that bug goes away. Essentially, I think what the bug was that the script was trying to set the rotation using the character controller, but the character controller set in start, and unfortunately, the script was trying to populate that also in start from another class on the project. So there we go. So now we've got ourselves populated in the right spot. So that was the issue, because they're all happening on start. Honestly, that bug could have always been there, but for whatever reason, this start happened before the other start each time. So yeah. So I do like this sort of pattern of doing things for assigning components, because it means that whenever you call it, it's going to be populated. It doesn't matter whether it's in start or awake or another script is calling it in start, which is what was happening here. Ultimately, set rotation is being called in game data, and if you just go back down the list, it basically happens on start. So there we go. So now it seems to be working. The whole load and save, the load complete, it seems to be working just fine. Let's just watch it one more time. All right, and there you go. So there will be more updates to make, because this new pattern of things means that there might be some scripts that need to do the whole wait for save and load is loaded. I can't remember off the top of my head. Yes, I love lambdas. Once I learned about them, I was like, ooh, I like these. It made my scripts shorter and easier to read for the most part. So yeah, so that's fine. But I do want to circle back to the title scene right now because, oh yeah, because we were loading things twice. Let's actually fix that first. So why are we loading things twice? No, I added the thing where it's now going to load on scene was loaded. So now when the scene was loaded, it's going to save or load the data. So we don't need to actually call load anymore. All we need to do is set the save game ID that we want to have loaded and then load a new scene. And that next new scene will load all the data, including the player data. So now when we go back to here, and we see these other usages, really all of these should go away, except for this one. This one happens when we load a scene. Like if I just go to the demo scene, the world demo scene, and load it, this will happen, and so that's fine. We can, that's like a debug thing, really. Yeah, this is a debug thing, no big deal. But on the on this scene, there's a button called Debug Start, and there's another Start one too, Debug Start, and it has a action here, Start Game. So let's quickly look at that. Start Game, what does it do? It does resets our hit points and magic points to their max values. During the correct creation scene, of course, you'll be changing your stats, and that might affect your hit points and magic points, so we have to reset those. And then we do save and load. We save the game, very important, and then we load the scene, and we start fading in. So it's going to be then in the fade to black probably that we're doing the load, because I don't see anywhere here loading of the data. So let's look at start fade in. Fade in, we do start coroutine, fade in. Let's look at that. In our fade in, we block raycasts so nobody can click, 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 click while it's fading. We set the next scene. All right, and we wait for the blackboard to make sure it's there. Then we add the event that we are fading in started. So if anything happens to do stuff while we're fading in, music, sound effects, whatever, they'd be able to just listen for this event and then do a thing. And then we do all this, and then we do fade to black. And when it's fully faded to black, save and load. Set is loaded to be false. And then we load the scene. Interesting. So we don't do another load. I swear we saw 2 loads. So let's go back over here. And, well, maybe that's where one of the loads was. Let's just do a debug start, and we're going to look for the save and load complete message here. And we'll see. Did we do it? No, we only did it once. Okay, that's not an issue then. All right, so we can go back to the main scene, the title scene here, and update this so that continue and load game are going to do things slightly differently. For continue, you know, it's interesting. Continue might not even need to do anything. It just might need to load the last scene, because that debug script will work. No, it won't, because the debug script won't have the fader involved, and so. All right, so where's our continue button? Continue. All right, there it is, and we will look at the script. Main menu continue button got clicked is the method here. I am going to change this to a lambda because I like them. Got clicked. All right. Save and load last game file. And save and load last game file. So here we no longer need to do this. So I believe we just need to, okay, so we need to set this game ID. That's going to be the key to save and load. Is just all it really needs is the game ID, save game ID. And so save game ID, do we have a setter for this? I don't know. we? I can't remember anymore. Get game ID, and if we don't have one, then we'll create a new one. So what we're really going to do is set this value, and then when we load, it will load the value there. So the first thing we need to do is set it, and I don't think I have a setter for this. Game ID equals that, and we have load game file. Oh, and this loads that. So it does set it here from the game file. Let me see. Where is this being called? This is on save and load. Oh, well, that's not helpful. Yeah. That's circular logic, isn't it? Oh, I see. I see what I was doing. So before I was saying pass in this. Okay, so I guess we could just call. We don't want to call load though, because now we want to do that on scene was loaded. So we just need to set this here first. All right, I think I'm understanding it now. We do need a setter then, just so we're going to do a set save game ID right up here by the other one. So public void set save ID. So game ID, we'll make that more explicit, and string value, and then we're going to say save game ID equals value. This could be auto done, I believe. Save game ID. There we go. But we're doing more there, and maybe we'll do more here in the future, so I'm going to leave this separate for this. So now in our save game ID, we're just going to set that, and then we're going to call nothing. We don't need to call load. That's going to be called automatically when the scene is loaded. So we just need to set it. That means in our continue button, let's see. So let's try this. We're going to do save and load dot set game save game ID to last game file dot save game ID, and then we will do that there, comment that out, and then we'll do the fade to black, start the fading, putting in the last scene name that we played, and that's going to load that scene. That scene will then populate, and we should be good with only calling load from on scene was load. So let's check that out. We're going to press play, or press our fancy pants continue button. Ah, it has a click. That's nice. And it worked. But we can confirm. Let's just go back over here. We're going to go all the way over here. We'll add ourselves some gold up here. Now, if you're wondering, by the way, this is using the game modules, and so all this stuff up here is all automatic. The computations are all automatic. You don't have to do anything. That's the beauty of the game modules. So as an example, let's get through this quest real quick.
That
So
worked.
we've lost some gold. I
Well,
should have told you that we were going to lose some gold, but that's okay.
see you later, sticker.
Yeah, so we got this haste condition. It's automatic. Everything's automatic. All I did with this script, all this script was say give the player, the active player, haste, and then everything else was automatic. The countdown's automatic. With the game time, you can pause game time, and of course the countdown stops. And then the conditions here, or the stat results, you can see the points on the right, but the actual points in the game are on the left, and then they change whenever something changes. And of course that condition happened to give another condition called exhausted for a few minutes, and when that expires, also automatically, stats just get recomputed automatically, just like that. His hit points are down because his stamina went down, and in this demo, stamina affects your hit points. Now if we go over here, we can get poisoned. You can see that in our poison, we lose a hit points every time. This is actually a condition itself, but it's an instant condition that just gives us some health, so it heals. So we can heal player 4 as well there. That's it. All right, so I'm going to save here, and then we're going to see if that worked. Let's press the fancy continue button as well. And that worked, so there we go. So yes, and by the way, the game modules are on the asset store right now. This is going to be V4 of the game module. So if you like what you're seeing here, definitely grab the game modules. But then the version 4, when that comes out, all the stuff I'm working on now, save and load, the quest system, those are going to be part of version 4 of the game module. So if you are interested in that kind of stuff, go to infinitypbr.com, click the see all assets. That uses my affiliate link, and I appreciate that. This is the shameless plug portion of the show, by the way. And then you come to the asset store where we have all of our cool stuff. And the game modules right now, unfortunately, are kind of buried because nobody's bought it in like a few weeks. So it's right here, game modules, and you can click it and buy it and support me and my work and the channel and all of our work, because it's not just me, all the other people too. So that's what we're doing there. Now we need to do the load game. Load game is very similar. We'll just update this script as well. When we click that, now we're going to get all these games, and you can see I've actually been testing a lot, but I haven't made the save game button in the game, so I haven't changed the name of the game. But you can see the game time here, so get a sense of where we were and when we saved and all that stuff. But these little buttons here are going to be somewhere. Where are they? They are here, viewport, content, all these buttons. These also have a button that if we got clicked, then it does a thing, and the thing it's going to do is load the game. And so we just need to update this line here, similar to the continue button. So we will take this, and we will go over here, and we will, whoops, paste it in, and we will comment this out, and then let us do game file dot save game ID. Oh, and this might crash Unity. Oh shit. Oh shiza. So it didn't, thank goodness. So recently, whenever I reload the script while Unity is running, it crashes, and it's very frustrating because I do it from time to time. Yes, Tech Dave, I didn't say it, but yes, I do plan on raising the price of the game modules, because I think the game modules is really maybe $60 to $80 price point. It would be more appropriate, but I'm also very aware that I am working on V4 right now, so probably $50 or more once the release happens. Probably a new version with a free upgrade, but also maybe a new release discount. So we'll see about that. Did you notice the goblin and the ghost? Those are nice little touches, aren't they? I agree. The ghost kind of just fades in and out on a random thing and kind of bumbles around between some various spots randomly as well. I need to smooth it out, but yeah, it's pretty cool nonetheless. All right, load game. We're going to load not the last one. Let's load one of the other ones. I don't even know where I was when I loaded these, so we're just going to load a random one, see where we were. This is a different one because you can see our magic points are down here and other things, but it looks the same. It's just different characters, I guess. So it worked, is what I'm saying. Totally worked.
Hello, I'm a very, very sad goody goblin drops.
Yeah,
Hurry,
let's go. Oop.
hurry. Don't
All right.
waste time. I can feel.
Hello, puppy. If we wait, this puppy's going to die. This is the thing about this quest. This quest is to rescue this oh, it's dead. Now it's a dead puppy. So now we can still collect it, but we don't know that we failed the quest yet, but we have. But the quest doesn't get, this one's not auto-checked, so we don't know that we failed until,
My
goblin.
dove. My
All right.
sweet, dear Lord.
There we go. All right, so now the next step is to make this work. So right now there's no collision here. Didn't she have lower health magic earlier? I thought her magic bar was lower earlier. I wasn't paying attention. But we need to make this collide with our players. We need to make this collide with that wall and make it explode. Really nothing fancy here. This is just normal everyday kind of scripting stuff. So let's load up the demo world and load up a particle. Where is our particle? Where did I throw this? Prefabs, particles, magic ball. We'll bring our magic ball right here. It's a very nice magic ball. It doesn't do anything. Hey, and it's apparently not even doing its particle system. We have our move forward. We have our magic ball. So it's a magic ball, I believe. Yes. So a couple things that have to happen. One, the caster, I've been waiting my notes here. Oh. It was gain the player. That's nice. Okay. So make my notes that we have to transfer stats to the projectile. So that's the first thing. Let's just do that right now. So whenever the magic pedestal fires a projectile, it needs to transfer its stats to that projectile. And the reason being, this is a demo enemy. Demo enemy comes from the demo enemy has itself a demo actor, which is the same as the players, and it has stats on it. And the damage that comes from the magic ball is based on the stats of the bad guy. However, what happens if the bad guy dies? What happens if while this magic fireball gets shot away, the bad guy dies, or a spell is cast that makes their magic less powerful, or something like that? If that happens, we don't want the fireball that already exists to be less powerful, because that was shot earlier. Who knows how long earlier? So every projectile in this system should just basically have a clone of its owner's, of its caster's stats. So when it actually inflicts damage, or if you're using the condition system, which we're probably going to use in this demo, it will just say, oh, the caster was this stats. It doesn't need to know the actual caster. It just needs to know a clone of their stats, and then it can compute the values properly based on those stats. And so that's what we need to do right here, transfer the stats to the projectile. So this is the magic pedestal. So what we're going to do is say new projectile dot get transfer stats. And it's not, we need to get the script, don't we? What is the script on that? Did I have that up here? I thought I did, but maybe I did not. Oh, this is the magic ball. Wait a minute. Magic ball. Oh, there we go. Magic pedestal, magic ball. Let's just close all these to the right. That's just confusing the heck out of me. All right, new projectile to get component. Let's just cache it. We're going to say var magic ball equals new projectile dot get component magic ball, and then we're going to say magic ball dot transfer stats, and we're going to pass in the stats, or the, let's see, what do we call it, enemy stats, demo enemy. What did we call our demo enemy? We called it just actor. We just called it actor. Well, that's generic and makes a lot of sense. Actor.stats. All right, so we're going to pass in our stats there. Let's create this method, and it's going to be a method that takes in the stats and makes a clone of it. Again, we need a clone because we don't want to actually copy the stats and make it one-to-one copy. Otherwise, if you make a modification on this, it's going to modify the caster, and if you modify the caster, will modify this, and that could be a recipe for disaster. I rhymed. Did you notice that? I totally rhymed. And so what we want to do here is take in our actor stats and make a clone, but we're just going to say stats dot equals actor stats dot clone. Not clear. That would also be a disaster. And there we go. And I think it just adds something up here. And nope, I did not want visual scripting clone. I want just the clone of the actor, so we can make a lambda as well there. And so the clone is just this generic clone from JSON to JSON. It makes a copy of it. Very simple. If you've never used this, this is a super handy line of code. So steal this code. And then we go back to the magic ball. So now we got the stats, and that should be all good there. That's it. We can confirm this. Let's confirm it by turning off this one so we don't have any random stuff. And we'll just press play, wait for our magic ball to be spat out from the magic pedestal. There we go. There's one. And then we will find our magic ball. Oh, there. Well, let's find the new one. Let's see, it's going to be on the top. No, it's going to be on the bottom. Okay, this is the new one. We look for the stats. Do we have it? No, no, no. Do we not? All right, let me see. Delete. There we go. Does it have it? Does it have it? Did we not save something? Did something go wrong? Clearly, something went wrong. Did we not we did the transfer stats. Let's see. All right, let's just see. Oh, you know what? I think the problem is the magic pedestal has no stats yet, so we've got nothing to transfer. Well, let's fix that. Oh my gosh. Yeah, so the magic pedestal has no stats, so let's give it some stats. We're gonna do. I think I already have a starting stats thing. Do we have that starting? Do I have stats? What do I have? Editor window, effect. I have stats. Stats settings. I think yes, I have this. So we're gonna do this basically, and I'm gonna copy what I did before in the demo actor here. Oh, look at that demo actor. What's fancy about demo actor is that demo enemy is very similar to demo actor. Demo actor is, wait a minute, I think demo enemy has demo actors. So this is that, and so what we need to do is figure out, where did we call the stat settings? Starting list items. That only happens in the character creation scene. So we are going to copy this, but we're going to do it in our magic pedestal. Actually, let's do it in our demo enemy, because every demo enemy might have some stats to start, essentially. So we're going to do a public list stat settings, and we'll see what that looks like in the inspector in a minute. Starting stats and new list stat settings. So we're going to do that, and we'll look at that in just a second. But before we do, let's do our awake, I guess. We'll do it on awake, seems like an appropriate time, so let's just do that. Public virtual, yeah, we're going to do virtual void awake. Why is virtual? Because I can't spell like a normal person. Alright, so instead of doing it here, we're going to say give starting stats, or we'll just say starting stats. Uppercase S, put that down here. Oh no, again, when we're going to make it public and virtual, I guess protected is the right term. Protected virtual starting stats, because oops, void, because Magic Pedestal might want to do this a little bit differently, and since Magic Pedestal and other enemies are going to inherit from demo enemy, oftentimes this is exactly what they're going to want to do, and so we're set. But if they want to override it, then you have to do this protected virtual. Protected, as my understanding, is basically saying private, but your inheritors can access it. So we're going to say for each start in stat settings, man, what a tongue twister. For each stat settings in starting stats, we're going to do actor.stats.receive transfer. The owner is going to be actor, which is the I have stats entity, the class. And the actor.stats is going to be the, let's see, create stat, takes in the parent list. Yeah, so the owner is the actor. The parent list is the game stats list, which we're calling stats. Seems very appropriate. And we're creating a new game stat. That's what this does. And then we're going to set those values as on its constructor. And we're going to receive the transfer on that list, and everything is magic at that point. And so this is going to happen on awake. I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure we actually need to not do this on awake, because, well, let's see, if it's the first time it's loaded, because this is a savable object. The demo enemy is a savable object. So the save and load's going to overwrite whatever data is on this object. However, if it's the first time we've loaded, then the save game has never experienced this object before, so there's nothing for it to load. Therefore, it's perfectly fine to do this. It's slightly inefficient because on subsequent loads of the scene, this will happen, even though we're going to just overwrite it right afterwards. But you know what? It's not that big of a deal, probably. Like, even if you have hundreds of enemies, this is going to take milliseconds, I guess. I don't know exactly. I really don't know, but it's probably not that big of a deal in the scheme of things. So I think we are good to do that. So let's give it a try. We're going to look at the inspector, see what this little class looks like, populate it with the stats that our magic pedestal needs, and give it some values, some starting values as well. And we'll go from there, and then we'll check to make sure that the magic balls are getting the clone of the stats. So if we go to our magic caster here, I'm going to rename this to be magic pedestal because it's really the magic pedestal. Pedestal. I think that's how you spell it. So now we have these starting stats. So let's create a whole bunch here. We're just going to create, I don't know, 10. We'll give it 10, see what happens. We have our stats, points, and etc. So let's give it the standards. So we're going to start with these standards. I'm just going to expand all of these so we can just drag and drop over. We need accuracy. We're going to need no hit points. We'll give it a level. We'll give it some luck. We'll give it some, we already did might. We'll give it some personality, even though I don't think it would actually use that. We'll give it some speed. We'll give it some stamina. And we'll give it some wisdom. You know what we should probably do? We should probably modify the speed at which it casts by its speed setting. That would be neat, wouldn't it? And we have 2 more. Do we need any other stats on this one? I don't think so. No, we don't need any of those. We're going to use these stats for all the rest, and that's that. Yeah, so we're good there. So we only need the 8 stats, I think, and let's just give it some random values. We'll just do 15 across the board, so it does a min-max in the script. Oh, and for level, we'll just give it level 2, so it's a little low level. Everything else will be just 15 across the board, and we could do a min-max and it would randomize it, but we're not going to do that for this. Alright, we're going to save that. This is not a prefab yet. Maybe it will be, but it's not yet. There's only going to be the one, so maybe we don't make it a prefab. And then we press play and we see when it spits out new magic balls. Let's wait for one. There it is, and we look at it, and do we have the stats? We don't. Well, mother... Oh, there it is. So this is the new one on the top. All right, good. How embarrassing would that have been, right? So here are the stats. It's a copy of the stats list. We don't see the points listed here because it's not something that you can easily change. I still need to make the dictionaries optional in this regard. Anyways, so there it is. It's just a clone. So now it works. Now when we do get hit by the projectile, then we should save on the outside of this.
Low.
Alright.
Kitty goblin drops.
Let's quickly... Oh,
Hurry.
see, she does have a
Time. I can forgive
magic points low. Her magic points is 21 out of 25. Why does it go up?
Hurry up. Oh, yippee. Yippee. Yippee.
Oh, I know why.
You have found
because
my cube.
we now have a...
I was so worried.
Ah,
Because I am very hungry.
okay.
I did want to-
The reason why it went down or the value, the bar went up, and I'm going to save here. The reason why the bar refilled, i.e. she suddenly had 100% of magic points, and this time it went down, is the quest, the Save the Puppy quest, gives you a bonus. So if we actually look at the quest object itself, Rescue the Puppy, in our stats setting, you can see that when we succeed, it's going to affect your personality by 2, and when you failed, it's going to affect your personality by -1. And so if we look at her personality right here, it's now 15.6. She still only has 11 points assigned to her personality, but the final value is 15.6 because this is increasing it, and other things like her not her gender, but like her race and class are also increasing it. She is I don't know what she is, but she's got stuff that also increases it there. And so her final magic points, she must be a cleric or a paladin. Her final magic points is actually determined by her personality. So once her personality went up, her magic points max went from 26 to 29. And so the percentage dropped, and so her bar went down. That's what happened. All right. So we are transferring that to the projectile. Let's see what happens when we get hit. Boom. Hey, earlier I thought we saw we're getting hit, but now it doesn't look like we're getting hit. Why not? I mean, it feels like we're getting hit, doesn't it? That's going right through us. Let's see. Player. All right. So that's our player. Are we just too short? No, we might be too short. Oh yeah, I wonder if we're too short. Let's see. This new projectile. We'll bring it down. Frame by frame. Where's our player? There we go. So we should see it. All right. So maybe it's just, yeah, we're just too, the pedestal's too tall. All right. That's good. So we'll do two things. One, the pedestal just got shorter. All right. And then we'll get rid of this debug log. We don't need that anymore. My reminder has been reminded. And don't forget to like and subscribe, everybody. Appreciate it. Always helpful, and I'm glad you're here. Oh, where did it go? Let's go. Trigger, enter, collider is player. So as you can see, I didn't do shit here. So we're going to make the player get hit. We also need to explode because that's just fun. And so we are going to do an explosion. This is Magic Ball. Most likely I would convert this eventually into a generic parent of Magic Balls and other spells. But in this case, we will just keep it simple until we need to make it more complex. I'm also going to move the transfer stats up here so that it's in a place that feels, to me at least, more logical, because we're not using these for this object. These are from the iSaveable. So if you want to do pre and post save actions, you could, and pre and post load actions, you could do that. And so in this regard, we need a explosion. So we need a method to make it explode. We also need a prefab. That is the explosion. So these are those things. So we're going to do header, and we'll go with options because maybe it's just an optional explosion. So we'll do public game object particle, or we'll say on hit particle. On hit particle. All right. So that's going to be the explosion. And then we're going to need a method to explode. So we're going to say private void spawn on hit particle, and very simply it's going to be if on hit particle equals null, then we'll return. Otherwise we're going to say var new particle equals instantiate on hit particle and the transform dot position and at the quaternion identity, and then we will say destroy the new particle in 5 seconds. It's going to, of course, probably not be there within 5 seconds, but that just gets it out of the scene, so we don't have to worry about it. And then that should be it. It's going to handle what it does after that. We don't have to worry about that. So on trigger enter, the other collider is player. And for this demo, that's just all we really need. It doesn't really matter there. So we're going to say if the name is player, then we're going to do player got hit. And we're going to do something else. Otherwise, at the end, either way, we're going to say spawn got hit particle. And then, actually, let's make this required. And then we're going to get a list of things to turn off. So game object. Actually, let's see. Is it going to be a list of things, or are we just going to know what we're turning off? What are we turning off? Stuff. All right, let me just quickly make this. So private void player got hit. And we will then do, what's this? Oh. All right. Let's quickly look at the magic ball. She sells by the sea. Stats. Magic ball, magic ball, magic balls. Man, this is a family-friendly show, everybody. You take any of this out of context, I tell you. There's the magic ball. And the magic ball script. I probably already had it up here, didn't I? What do we have? We don't need the script yet. We need to know what we're turning off. What we are turning off is the... Let's just bring it into the scene. It'll be a lot easier to work. I like working with prefabs in the scene. I don't know about you. But in the scene, we can clearly see that... Oh, I already had one. Look at that. In the scene, we can clearly see that we have the point light, the particle system. So we do have some things to turn off, and we do have some components to turn off. So what we're going to do is a public list of a game object on hit turn off equals new list game object. So these are the things that we're going to turn off when we hit. And so spawn on hit particles turn off, or did hit turn off. We'll do that, and this is going to be just down here, private void did hit turn off. And this we're going to say for each var object in turn or on hit turn off, we're going to say object dot set enabled, no, set active false. And then we're going to just hard code the rest. We're going to say the get component sphere collider dot enabled. I spell things right. Get component enabled equals false. And then what else? Get component move forward dot stop. We're going to make that method so it stops moving forward as well. I don't know if that matters, but maybe it will. Probably doesn't really. You know, actually, we don't need to do this at all. We're just going to destroy it. We're just going to destroy it. We don't need to turn anything off. Undo. Don't be afraid to undo. So we're going to spawn the particle, and then we're going to destroy this. Destroy this. Because the player got hit is going to do the player damage. So destroy this is just going to just destroy it. Private void destroy this, and we're going to do what are we going to do? We're going to destroy this in 0.01 frames. So basically destroy this next frame. So it's not going to destroy it right away because we don't need to, and I think that it could be some, well, there might be some issues. I'm not sure if there will be some issues with that, but we're not going to destroy it right away. Instead, we're going to destroy it the next frame, basically 1/100th of a second from now, which will be the next frame or the frame after that. No big deal. We're all friends here. And again, I can't spell. We'll do the spawn hit, and that will handle its own shenanigans. Right? Pixel shenanigans? Shenanigans? Right. All right. And then the player got hit. What happens when the player gets hit? Let's do that. So we're going to do... This is where the player is going to take damage. So there's a couple ways to do damage. You could code your own damage system, and that's a very good way of doing it because your damage system might take into account all these various, algorithms and other things that, I can never predict. And that's what the whole game modules is supposed to do. It allows you to make your game the way you want to make it. Thanks, Pixel. I'm glad you did. So the whole point of the game modules, you can make your game. With this, you can make your game. Not my game, Not this demo scene's game. You can make your game. And the reason why is that we do expect you to perhaps code your own damage system, because your damage system might be different. I know for me, my damage system in my game, Legend of the Stones, which is, of course, going to use game modules, is going to take into account various different things that aren't just built into this. It's not magic completely. It's just nearly magic. But for the purpose of this demo, we're going to use an instant condition. So we're going to go into our conditions and debuffs here. You can see that we've got a extra health condition, and this is an instant. So we're going to do something very similar. We're going to create a game modules, create condition. We're going to call this a magic ball damage. Magic ball damage. In our main settings here, we are going to say it's instant. That means it will happen and then it will go away. It happens once. We don't need to worry about the rest. We don't need to set any of this. We don't need an expiration condition. That's not going to happen. And then we're going to set our effects on points. So since it's instant, there's no option for periodic. That's not a thing when it's instant. The stat affected, hit points, right? Jason Storey says, my damage system is when I go to see Unity and it's when I try to use Unity and it's entirely emotional. You have an emotional damage every time you use Unity. Well, that's because, Jason, you are living in a simulation, and that simulation uses game modules. It's totally true. So what's going to happen when we get hit by a magic ball? Well, first let's take at least 1 damage. So we're going to take 1, and we're actually going to make this -1. If you make it +1, you're actually going to give hit points. So we need to take hit points away. So -1 to -1 hit points will be taken away. Hit points is a stat, but it's being used as a counter. So the points value is the only one that is happening. But then we have this other thing, the source. The source is the caster. In this case, it's the pedestal. And as you remember, we copied those stats over. So the magic ball will itself have stats available. And so what we're going to do is give more damage based on the stats of the caster. So we're going to look at the caster's wisdom. That's oftentimes a magical thing in this demo. So we're going to say that per point in wisdom, it's going to be 0. Per final stat, it's going to be 0. We're actually going to add in the lookup table. So this says optional. If populated, you can add a value multiplied by the lookup table output of any stat you choose. So let's put in a stat bonus lookup table. This is a lookup table that I've created previously. And it basically, if you put in 0, you get -6. If you put in 3, etc. Now we set the values to be 15 for the fancy magic ball stats or the magic pedestal stats. So we know that we're going to stick in 15. We know that's the wisdom. And we're going to get out 1. Great. That sounds amazing. So what we're going to do, if it was a better magic pedestal, maybe the value would be 30 and we get 6 out. So what we're going to do is on our condition, magic ball damage, how you say it matters. It really, really does. What we're going to do here is say we're going to give a minimum of 1 and a maximum of 2 times the value of, actually we'll just do 1 to 1. So it's really simple math. 1 to 1 times the value of wisdom in your stat bonus. So to go over the math here. Oh, and we got to do -1. -1 to -1. All right. So when a character gets this condition, it's going to instantly affect it. It's going to instantly affect its hit points by -1. And it's going to look up the stat bonus of the wisdom based on the source's wisdom and multiply this value, -1 to -1. Again, it's a min-max, but we're just going to make it -1 times the value of that, which is 1. So it's going to be -2. So every time we get hit, it should be -2 damage. And now we're just going to kind of see if it works. So let's add this to the magic ball. So if we go to our thing here, we're going to say public condition on hit condition. And well, actually, you know what? We'll make this a list of condition. And And that's way we could also have too. So if it's an ice ball, then maybe we also add a slow condition. So we do the damage plus the slow condition. We could, of course, do well, why don't we just do that now? The other way to do it is to make the magic ball damage an ice ball. And I'll just show you what that is now. So if we just kind of copy this magic ball damage and make this an ice ball damage, create new UID because they have to have unique UIDs. So we would then be able to change the values of these. And so maybe the ice ball does, 2, negative 1.5, negative 1.5. It can be a float. It doesn't have to be a solid one. So maybe it does a little bit more damage. And then, you can do another one. We're going to create a condition. And this one we'll call this ice ball slow. I mean, honestly, you could just call this slow, and then lots of things can use slow. So when you get hit by an ice ball, you also get the condition slow. And then on this one, we can look at the various settings here. For the condition time, it's not going to be instant. It's not going to be infinite. We're going to set it to be, let's say, just last 5 to 10 minutes, somewhere in there. And again, you can say the stat can be required. So this is the source, not the target. We can say wisdom. And you can have another thing where, for every final stat of that, you can give it another, say, 0.25 minutes to 0.25 minutes. So if the final stat is 15, do the math. What is that? 3 3/4 minutes, almost 4 minutes. So it would give about 9 to 14 minutes. Excuse me. So you could do that. And there's no periodic effect, so we can ignore that. But then on the stats, we can say, well, it's slow, so let's look at speed. Oh, I need to add the search thing to this. Anyways, add speed, and then on that we can just say, okay, maybe your proficiency goes down by 10% whenever you have this. And that means that as long as this condition is on you, your speed is 10% less proficient, which means it's essentially 10% lower than it would otherwise be, give or take, because there's other proficiencies that may be coming into play. And so what we do on our magic ball here in our required on hit condition, we could do 2 things. We could do the magic ball damage, and then we could also do slow. And honestly, we can do as many as we want. It's just a list. So we're going to do that just so I can demo it, and we'll take it off later. We don't need slow for this one. I'm actually going to use that later in another damaging feature, like a force field or something like that. Something like that. I want to do a slow thing. Anyways, let's see. All right, so when we do on trigger enter, destroy hit, player got hit, we're going to give the player the stuff. So we're going to say for each of our condition in conditions or on hit condition, we'll make that an S. On hit conditions, we're going to say, and I'm going to be more explicit here and say game condition, because these are game conditions, not conditions. Actually, no, they're not. At this point, they're just conditions, aren't they? So that is incorrect condition. All right, for each condition, we're going to say player. And so we know it's a player. There's only one player. We're not going to deal with the enemy maybe hitting other enemies or anything like that. That is something you could easily do and just find the thing that got hit and find its well, actually, if the thing is shoot, I can do that here. Let's just do that here. There's a better way of doing this rather than looking for the name. We can say if other.gameObject.is or just is I have stats, then we can say stats object got hit. And we're just going to make this player got hit, stats object got hit. So now if there are other things running around, why is this saying? It's not. Oh, because it has to be. Yes. So. All right, let's go back. So anyways, I'm not going to do it here because it's out of scope. It's out of scope for this demo. But the point is, if you have other objects that can be hit, maybe they are I hittable or I have stats or something like that, you just check for those. And if it is one of those, instead of saying player got hit, you just say a thing got hit, the actor got hit, or the object that has stats got hit. And then you essentially do the conditions onto that actor. But In this case, we're not going to do all that. So we are going to say, we're going to use it up here. We're going to use static. Oh, I cannot type. Oh, I definitely cannot type. Using static, Infinity PBR, modules, demo, game data. So we're using our game data. We're going to say game data dot active player. Actually, we're going to get a random player. Because we got 4 players, 4 portraits, well, random one's going to get hit. Makes a lot more sense, I think. So we're going to say var player who got hit. What does it say? Target. Target is going to be a game data dot players and then random dot range between 0 and game data dot players dot count. And there's a better way of doing this as well. This is something that you might repeat a lot. And so instead of repeating it a lot, we have all these fancy properties up here, including things like active player. So what we need, instead of just doing that, we're going to do public demo actor random player. And that's going to give us a random player. And this is going to be Unity engine.random. So this is now going to return a random player. So instead of having to every single time we want a random player do that same code, we just say game data.random player, and we do that. And you know, oh hello Corey. One other thing we could do if we wanted to, we don't have to. We could make this a static thing, I believe. Oh no, because we have to do a whole nother thing to make it work. So no, we're not going to do that. But you could make static properties and whatnot, or static methods, something like that. Don't ask me. I don't know what I'm doing. And then with the static one, you don't even have to say game data. You can just say random player. But in this case, we're doing that. Okay, so we got our random player, and then we're going to say target dot conditions dot gain condition. Isn't it gain condition? It's not gain. No. Give transfer to. I thought we had a gain condition. Let's see. Gain. We don't have a gain. Where? Let me look at my. Whoops. So one of the things I'm doing with what just the heck happened? Okay. One of the things game stat list. One of the things that I've been trying to do for the V4 update is have the same method names in all the different object lists. So game condition list, game stat list, game item object list, etc. Those would all have very similar method names. And I guess I didn't. I thought I had a method that was gain, but I know I have transfer to. That'll transfer in an existing object to this list. Oh no, that transfers out. Receive transfer is the one that gets a new one. But in this case, I guess it's just add. Maybe I removed gain because gain and add were basically the same thing. Looks like it. Yep. All right. So we're just add. Yeah, simple enough. Add, we can pass in our condition. We can pass in our UID, all that stuff. So we're going to say condition, and then this. And this has to be I have stats. All right. So let's see. I have stats. Now we're going to have to put in all these other random things here. All of those, and we probably don't need all of these. Get stats, stats 30, get other levels, return default. There are no other. Oh my god, my spelling is atrocious. I can't even spell atrocious. That's how bad. Oh my god, what the hell? Return default, not debug, default. There's no other levels to be gotten here. I believe none of these will be used. None of those will be used. None of those are going to be used. So all we really need is the add and then put this as the source, because the condition is going to use the stats from this as the thing. And actually, that reminds me, we do need to populate the try get game stat, because if I'm not mistaken, the condition will use try get game stat in order to get the damn game stat out that once. So we're going to say try get game stat is going to be if we're going to say actually var found equals stats dot first or try get. Do we have a try get, and we have a UID and out var game stat and and then return let's see, game stat equals no let's see, what was it? I swear I've done this before, and that's why I'm like, wait, what is it? Game stat is not equal null. It must be assigned upon exit. Var game stat equals null. Nope. God damn it. I know I've done this before. I think I actually did it in our demo actor. Yes. See, I did. Oh, and I did it a very different way. That seems reasonable. We're just gonna copy it. All right. So we're gonna game stat is gonna get the stats and then return it if it's return that it's not null. So if it's not null, return true, and the out variable here is being passed through that as well. All right. So that should now work for the condition. Where is the add? There we go. So for each condition, we're going to give the player the condition. That's it. So player got hit, spawn the hit particle, destroy this, and magic. We don't have a spawn hit particle yet, so let's just quickly make one, I guess. So we're going to just do a duplicate of this. We're going to say magic explosion. And for this one, we don't need all this other stuff, so we're going to remove a whole bunch of components. What just happened? Isn't it weird when something just falls in your room and you're like, wait, why would anything fall in the room? Because I don't even know what it was. I think it was like some scissors in a jar of scissors just knocked over. I don't know why. Probably because of the poltergeist. I know, but, you know, I don't know why. Alright, so we're not going to do a point light for this. We'll just turn it off. Maybe I'd bring it back and do a fade. With an explosion, you want the point light to fade, and I just didn't want to code that right now. And for this particle system, let's just quickly change it. We're going 0 over distance. We'll do maybe 30 over time. We'll make the duration to be 1 second. Actually, no, 0.5 seconds. And then maybe make this a little bit bigger than 50 over time. Start lifetime, we'll make it 0.35 and yada 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 yada. Force is going to be whatever it's going to be. It's going to be not looping. Where's the loop? Not looping. So stop right there, and that's that. So that's not a very big explosion. So we're going to make it 100. And then we're going to say size over lifetime is going to be different than this. So let's see, let's make this a little bit bigger. Our size over lifetime is going to get bigger, not smaller. How come I can't zoom out? I want to zoom out. How come I can't zoom out here? Oh, there. No, I can't zoom out. Alright, well, let's just make this 2. And then we can zoom out from like that, I guess. So we want it to be bigger. Stop, restart, there we go. It's too big though, and then at the end I guess we want it to be made smaller. So we'll do that. So it's going to get really big, then really small. And we should make lifetime even smaller. Stop, restart. Alright, whatever. That'll do for now. Yeah, whatever. All right, so this is going to be our magic explosion. Let's make this a new particle prefab. Put that here. It's going to be an original. And then in our magic ball, we're going to assign it here. We have our conditions. No, we don't. We're going to give our conditions. It's going to be, what was it? Magic ball damage. And we're going to do the slow just for shits and giggles. And let's do the fancy override there. All right, turn this off and press play. And we'll see if it works. So it means that when we get hit, oh, I almost got hit. When we get hit, we should see some health go down, and we should also see our speed go down. And we should see a condition happen. Let's see. Nothing happened. All right. Index was out of range. Let's see. Game condition, add. List, add, ... Add this to Blackboard. Return list 1. Did it not? That's weird. It should have added it, but it didn't. So this is going to be the list on the player, I suppose. So let's just follow it through here, just make sure we didn't miss anything. Target condition dot add. Well, that's exactly what we wanted to do. Then we go game condition list, which makes the game condition right here. The parent list is this. Now this is on the player. The source is the I have stats source. It can be null, but we need that to compute the full damage. And then if it doesn't stack, and we already have it, then it's going to update a thing rather than add a new one. And then otherwise we're going to add the game condition. All right, well, that seems all straightforward. And then this, and the list is saying it's not there. Well, that's interesting. Let's look at our player real quick. What player was it? I should probably spit out what player it was, but that's okay. We can look real quick at the game data players. Players. So this one doesn't have it. This one doesn't have it. This one doesn't have it. And this one doesn't have it. Okay, so we've confirmed none of them have it. Okay, so what we're going to do is, I want to know which player is supposed to have it. That will just be a little helpful, I believe. So magic ball, a random player. And we're going to say debug.log. Target is target.game name. Let's see, actor name. All right, so target is actor name. We should get that. All right, we'll clear that out. We'll step in here. Hey. Now we're not getting hit at all. There we go. I think it's going through us. I think I need to change the detection of that. Thanks, Tech Dave. Thanks for hanging out. It's always been a pleasure. Target is Grabarla. Oh, which is our selected player. That's nice. Where is this one? This is on the remove exact. Why are we removing exact? Why are we removing? This shouldn't. I don't think we should be removing a game condition. Because it's instant. Oh. Interesting. First, 2 conditions should be added. So let me try something. I'm gonna take off one of the conditions and see if there wasn't a bug a couple of days ago where the instant was causing a similar issue where it was destroying itself quickly, which I believe is what's happening here. It's the instant one is being removed. So we're gonna take off the instant one. We're gonna just have slow. And we will make this 1. And slow is not instant, therefore, if instant is what's causing this issue, then this issue shouldn't happen anymore. And we should see the effect of slow. So let's see that. I also need to check the condition, the collision detection. There we go. All right, so did we get our slower speed? Yes, it is slower. Look, the target's still Garabella, which doesn't make sense. It shouldn't be the same one over and over and over. Oh, this time it's Corey. Let's see. Catter's speed is... Oh, did we just get hit? Yeah, we just got hit. All right, well, I saw it move. So that's working. Okay, so a couple things. We need to affect the condition because it's or the collision. It's clearly not hitting us. So I think, what's the collision detection thing? Continuous, etc., etc., etc. Or is it on the player? I always forget. Doesn't appear to be there, so on the player. By the way, I think this character controller might be screwing things up too. Do people actually use the character controller still? Is that a thing people use? Years ago, a few years ago, I was talking to somebody at the GDC, one of the Unite fellows, named Will Goldstone, and I think I mentioned I was using the character controller, and he said something about, oh look, he still uses the character controller, and this is like years ago, like 7 years ago. So I don't know. Where is my? I guess this is it. So it must be the character controller that's receiving it. Yeah. All right. Well. I don't know. And I think the one thing I could do then to increase it is make this longer. Whoops, not center. But that's a sphere collider. Make it just bigger. All right. All right. So let's figure out this instant thing here that's going on. We're going to now flip this the other way and just put the magic ball damage on here. So we isolate to just the one thing and make sure it still happens. And if it still happens, then we'll fix it. That's the thing. The player doesn't seem to have a rigid body. Maybe it needs to. All right, good. Okay, I mean good, not good, but you know, good because we have the thing. All right, so what's happening here? Let's just walk through it. What essentially is happening is the condition destroys itself because it's instant, and by the time it's trying to do this whole last thing, then it doesn't exist because it was instant. So player got hit. Target condition add. We do the add. We do another add. Lots of adding. And then we do this, and we're going to return that. But by the time this happens, the game condition is gone. I guess it disappears because it was fast. So what we're going to do, it's weird because it should have added. Let me just do a debug. Debug.log should add game condition dot object name, and then we're going to say if game condition dot instant, then return default, otherwise return the game condition. So on instant condition will return null, and I don't know if that will cause another problem. It might. I like to have things return their objects. It's convenient. All right. Should add magic ball damage. Wait a minute. Yeah, magic ball damage. Are we getting damaged? No, we're not getting damaged. So why aren't we getting damaged? Okay, let's just do one more quick check with the slow instead, because I want to confirm that this one's working as expected before I go digging. Should add slow. You look at that. It actually didn't add slow. Or wait, we're on Quarry, are we? There we go. It did add slow. Okay, so this is working as expected. Slow is there, etc., etc., etc. Okay, so and Quarry keeps getting hit. I don't know why the random one seems to be giving me the same one over and over, but not all the time. It's just 4 in a row seems abnormal, but whatever. And it didn't add this because he already had slow, and I didn't say it's stacked, so it's not adding it. It's just updating it, so it's making the time longer, essentially. So this part's working, but the problem is that game condition on its constructor does this, does all this. Whoops, my foot just slid. All this stuff. Set up time, game time values, and right here, if conditions instant, the end time is now, and we return. Otherwise, we do all the time stuff for how long it is, periodic effects, etc., etc., etc. And then we do. Where do we do the instant action? Set up game condition values, point effects. For each point effect, we add to periodic, and then we add to constant. Okay. Let's see. For each effect in condition point effects, and as a reminder to myself, point effects on this is this right here. And then we add it to periodic. New stat modification equals stat modification. New source, null. New target, effect stat affected. New value is the effect. Compute the effect from the source. Effects periodic. Dot add. And when does that get used? Point actions. Point actions. Instant actions. Game modules actor do instant actions. Where is this coming from? Gain condition. Remember earlier when I said I thought I had a gain condition thing? I did have a gain condition thing. It just wasn't on the list. I think this is an opportunity, maybe not right now, but an opportunity to clear this up, because clearly this point actions is important for instant things, and the actor is really not part of the system. It sits outside of the system. It's the thing that holds the list, but it itself does not have it. So in this case, gain condition, we can pass in a condition just like we were doing, and it will do gain condition with the UID, which is new condition, and it passes a game condition to this one, and that does a transfers the condition over, sets the stats dirty, does the instant actions, and then returns the transferred one. And so when we do gain condition, it will do that, and it does this, it does that, and then it destroys itself, and it's fine. So I guess what I'm saying is that instead of .add, we should have been saying target.gain condition. There we go, and then condition this, and that should be that. So let's try that and see if it just magically works. That really is an opportunity for me, I think, to make that more automated, because maybe you shouldn't have to say gain condition for the instant effect to work. Well, let me step in front of this. Didn't work. Didn't work. Didn't work. I mean, it's clearly, we see it being hit here, but nobody's getting damaged. Oh, they're getting slow. Did I not change that? They're getting slow. I never went back, did I? Uh-huh. Nope, I didn't. All right. Magic ball damage. Actually, yes, let me put these right because we're going to take slow off. All right. Override, apply all, press play. All right. Oh, we're still getting the null. Hold on 1 second. Be right back. All right, I'm back. All right, so look, we're getting damage. We are getting damage, which is great, but we're still getting this null reference. That only happened once. Why did this happen once at all? Interesting. Oh, is it because I returned null? I'm really not sure why it needed it. We should test again because I'm not sure if that null reference was a fluke. I'm not sure why that would happen. Maybe it was from the null when we said earlier this doesn't have get other levels, so we just return default. All right, so far so good. It seems like it's working. The speed is 21, 11 points for this character. I'm gonna wait for this character to get hit. There it is. Speed is now 21 still, 11 points. Oh, that's interesting. It didn't update right away. Huh. I think that was actually not a bug with that was a bug with the display rather than a bug with the system. Because the display was 21 and that was abnormally high to begin with. All right, so slow goes away. Oh, she just got hit again. All right, let's quickly. Who's got the... Okay, this one, slow, goes away in 3 minutes. We're going to see his speed go up all automatically. And speed goes up, perfect. And there we go. Come on, get hit again. There we go. Speed. That's weird. We saw his hit points go down, but now he has slow. That's very odd. We need to do another test here. I'm going to force it to be 1 here. I'm not convinced that this is working as planned. So we're going to say, where's our random player? So instead of that, we're going to say target equals game data dot players 0. So we're just going to do the first player. We can remove this later. So I want to see both her hit points go down and the condition get created. And what I'm wondering is if it's the readout that's not doing things right, or if it's the system that's not doing things right. So in order to test this, let's quickly pause. We're going to go into our game data. We're going to look at her. First player, conditions is 0. We have her stats, so we have her hit points is 16 and her speed is 21, which I don't think is correct. So that's a little thing already. And then let's see, when she gets hit, we should see the condition show up in this list down here. All right, it did. All right, well, heck, let's just let it run its course. In this, every in-game minute is 3 seconds, so it's like 12 seconds or so that we wait and wait and wait, and then we will step back into it once it disappears. All right, here we go. It will automatically remove itself from the list. There it did. Let's just step in again. All right, well, it seems to be working just fine. I'm guessing that the issues I was seeing were a display issue. So you saw the time go back up, and since the time is being computed dynamically based on min and max values, there's opportunities for the time to actually be less than the current time. So when since this doesn't stack, or since you can't stack this, you can't have multiple slows on you at once. It will give you the longer time and the more impactful result of the two, of the current one versus the new one. So if the new one has less time, then you'll keep the existing time. If the new one has more time, then your time will go back up. All right, so that actually does seem to be working. Was the explosion working? I actually didn't look at that at all. Let's see. I need to make it explode on this door. I don't know why it's not. Oh, look, and it keeps going through. So the explosion's working, but it's going through still. Well, that's silly. I thought I destroyed it. Destroy this. Okay, maybe let's just destroy... oh. Game object. I destroyed the script, not the object. What happens if we just destroy it? Will we still get all the stuff? I think we'll still get all the stuff. Let's find out. Let's find out. Aha! Another null reference. Alright, well, it's being destroyed now, it looks like. And she got slow, so it looks like everything's working as expected there. But what is this null reference that keeps coming up? So it's from the game condition. Okay. Game condition. Total time is condition time. Interesting. Time. I have stats owner, compute time. And yes, so it's going to the I have stats owner, compute time, condition time. All right, so it is going to get other levels, and the get other levels on the, so this requires, oh, but null. Wait a minute, so that's not, can't be it. Owner must be null for the game stat. What game stat? Oh, we never set the owner. Well, we should when we transfer them. Let's see. Condition time. I have stats owner. Let's see. Owner, I have stats owner, compute time, time, owner is still being passed in. Source. Alright, so set time values should be fine. Let's do a quick debug.log. Before I do that, cancel out of that so we don't accidentally crash. Debug.log, source owner is source.get owner name, and let's just see that. I'm going to remove these other debugs that I have here because they are old, or this, we'll do that one for now. Press play and step back into the danger zone. Alright, target is Gabriella. Look at that. Didn't get spat out at all. Oh, well now it gave us the exact same. Get owner name. Haha. Return. magic ball. Alright, so it is the magic ball. Oh, I should have stopped. I've been saying all stream, really just twice, that it happens. So let's quickly reload it. Not that one. Now I've got 2 Unities coming up. Did this one finish uploading? I was uploading to the asset store. It's so close. 95.1. The medieval fantasy town village environment is getting a small fix to remove a bug that happens with one of the scripts that needs to be updated, and I haven't yet found the time to do so. Let's quit that. Come back over here. Alright. Press play again and step into the danger zone. The highway to the danger zone. Alright. We didn't get the bug that time. Owner's magic balls. Well, that was a slip because it's supposed to be magic ball, but that time it seemed to go right through us. We're not getting the null reference now. Try once more. That's one of the most annoying kind of bugs, actually. Intermittent bugs. Because now it's not happening, so I don't know why it was happening before, and if I can't reproduce it, why is this happening twice? I don't know. Alright, let's try to reproduce it now. Once more time. Once more time. And we'll make this more family friendly. Show. Get owner name. On magic ball. Get owner name. There we go. That's a little bit better. Now our friends in Utah can watch it too. Boom boom. Shh. No offense to any of our friends from Utah. Okay. Ooh, did I get no bug? I don't know. If the bug doesn't happen, then the bug doesn't happen. But we are getting damaged, and oh, look at that. And those two say they don't have the condition. Let me just check that the condition is supposed to be there, and it's possible that it didn't save the prefix. It is supposed to be there. Okay, so both of these don't have the condition there. Now, this is a good test to see if it's my readout system that's busted. So, nope. Game data. Players 2 does not have it. Player 3 does not have it. Interesting. Interesting. Alright, so that is a issue of sorts. Let's see why it's not. Alright, we're going to do a lot of debugs here. Magic ball. Gain condition. Debug.log. We'll give condition dot object name. Alright. Let's just see if we're getting both spat out. How frustrating is that? Because it was totally working last time, and just not this time. Alright. It says, we'll give condition, ice ball slow. Ice ball slow? Ice ball slow. That's not right. You know what happened is it never updated the name, Or it did, but it probably when it crashed, reverted. My guess is this hadn't saved. The name had automatically updated when we changed this to from Iceball Slow, and then this never saved because I never actually saved, and then it crashed. And that would explain that. Okay, it's still not happening though. Okay, so I'm gonna look at all these. Let's see. Slow. Oh, wait, nothing. My whole slow didn't save. Alright. That's frustrating. That's because of the crash. I wish this would just auto-save. You know? Alright, it's not instant. What was it? It was 5 minutes, 5 minutes. We'll do wisdom. And we'll make it between 0.2 and 0.4 per final stat. And then none of the rest over here. We will do speed and add, and we will do a value or a proficiency of minus 0.33 and save. See, I am saving the project. Alright, now. There we go. Interesting, it gave it to the wrong person. That was weird. Ah, that's very strange. Oh, a couple things. We got this. Source owner is Magic Ball, and then eventually we got this bug again. So that's something. So I'm going to put some debugs here. Debug.log. Owner is null. Owner equals null. It shouldn't be null, but you know, maybe. And debug.log is null. Well. All right. Are we doing the random in the right spot? No. No, we are not. That's why two people got the different thing. And that's why earlier I was getting confused. My lord. Get the target outside of the for each. Alright, so that part is working. Just need to be logical about it. Alright, that's why that was giving it to the wrong player. It was choosing a different player for each effect. Alright. Owner is null. So the owner was null for some reason. Why would the owner be null? Oh, you know what? Check this out. The owner's not going to be null. Watch. The owner is only null on the first one. Yeah, and that's because we're loading the game. Remember, I saved. So we're going to go and stand in front of it. And then I'm going to go all the way back here. Wait for the next one. Save it. All right, now every time we load, it's going to load with that there, and it's there. So the bug was that the one we were standing in was from way before we ever did the transfer of the stats. So that's why it didn't have an owner, because it was saved from before. It was an old particle, and every time I stepped into it, I was getting hit by an old particle. So that's why. There we go. So this is working. So that's that. That took a little bit longer than I would have hoped, but there you go. So now we're getting hit by that. We get the condition attached to us. We get hit with the damage, and everything's happy there. And then we can always go back here and heal ourselves with this magical potion. See? There we go. So that's working. Ha! Give yourselves a pat on the back. Oh boy. I think it's about time to call it a stream. What did we do today? Not that long. It wasn't that long, was it? 2 hours? That's nothing. Sometimes they're 4 and 5 hours. I will do more today, but it is Sunday night. I'm going to, probably grab a whiskey drink and do a little bit more. Keep moving forward. The next goal, the next thing here. So, I mean, I've got... This whole thing is basically demonstrating the game modules itself and all the different features that come of it. So we've got the first quest that you walk through where you have to give gold to a person, and it demonstrates, just the quest itself, that there's a quest and you can solve it, and then when your reward is negative 100 gold, that's how, she asked for 100 gold, and you need 100 gold to complete it and succeed it. You can't fail it. The next thing is these condition buttons, where essentially you just walk up to them and get conditions. So it's just a very casual way of looking at conditions and getting poisoned and stuff. What's going on here? Open player inventory. I think I need to fix these. These buttons are being hit when I hit space. That's what's going on there. I think. Look at all that. Alright, I gotta figure that out. He's clear that was working before. And then this next one is the Save the Puppy. This is a quest that can fail. And so that demonstrates a quest that you can fail. And then it automatically opens the door either way, so you can kind of see, you can dig into the code and see how I did that. And then this is a condition thing, basically demonstrating how to put a caster's stats onto a projectile and transfer that over to the player. And then we're going to do more. We're going to do more little demo scenarios. So there's going to be a zone where you just get damage over time, a zone where you get healed over time, just to demonstrate those. I'm going to do another level. So this is the demo world. There's going to be demo dungeon. So there's going to be a dungeon level so that you can see the saving or the loading scenes, and you can see how that process works with the save and load module. So I'm basically, going to have a bunch of scenarios here where you can kind of get some stuff. Oh, and this loot, I've got to fix that. The inventory has some bugs right now, and I need to fix that, and I just need to update it anyways. It's been a while. Enough time, though. I think it's worthy of an update. And then it should be ready for release after that, once I clean it all up. So it's still going to take a little bit more time. It's, it's always that last 10%, right? Takes 90% of the time, and that's what's happening here. There's just these small things I need to fix. Sometimes it's small things I need to fix. Other times it's things I need to tweak. For example, earlier we saw that code, the gain condition code, where really I feel like this should just be on the condition list itself. It actually doesn't feel like it fits here because all of this stuff is on the condition list. I mean, not really. The stats dirty is not, but instant actions basically should be. And saying stats dirty is just on anything that can call it here. But obviously this should live on the list, not the and really this should just call the game condition dot do instant actions. In fact, let's just freaking do that right now. So it's silly that we're calling game condition instant return. We should just say, hey, game condition, do your instant actions, and then game condition will do exactly this. So if we go to our game condition, let's see, public methods, constructor, probably up there in public methods, add to constant, add to periodic. Yeah, let's just do, that's not a public method necessarily. It's public, but not something you would call, I suppose. All right. We will throw it, check time, setup, add to constant, add to periodic. Let's do it here. So it's going to be public void do instant actions, and it knows who it is, and we're going to say if it's not instant, then return, otherwise point actions. So that means that on our game modules actor, instead of doing this, we're going to say game condition dot do instant actions. And actually it can be transferred on the transferred one, not not that one. So this can go away. What's the difference between, oh, do I have a bug here? What's this? Oh, I see what I'm doing here. I have conditions does the do instant actions. Interesting. This should be updated, I bet then. I see. Do we need a gain condition? Do we need to require every I have conditions to do that? Or should we just say the condition list itself can do a gain condition, which is essentially add I'll have to think about that. I think no. I think the answer is no, we don't actually need this. And we might not even need this. Condition point effects, we don't use it. When do we use it? Point actions. Why do we call point actions here and not... Oh, interesting. Owner condition point effects. What is this? It gets the point effects on the game stat. Oh, I guess we kind of do need that. Anyways, I figure I think I can make it easier or more simple. But anyways, yeah, so I'm going to close with this. You know, what you've been seeing is the demo scene being created for Game Modules V4. If you like what you see, this is a system that can be used for any kind of game. It does not, it's not limited to RPGs, not limited to fantasy, not limited to what you're seeing. It is a system that is flexible and makes it easier to operate your game and to do all those automatic computations, to do transferring of conditions and quests and stats and all this other stuff automated. You don't have to use the whole thing, but you can. If you go into infinitypbr.com, there's a couple things. There's our scripting docs link up here, and that'll take you over to the gitbook.io, where we have all the details of all the different things, and oftentimes they will have videos and code samples and other things to go along with it. V4 is going to be a major update, so all of this is going to be updated for V4. It's going to be a long undertaking there. I'll probably do a stream about it just because I'll get bored. And then also go into click and see all assets. If you like our assets, I do appreciate the support, of course. And if you're going to buy anything from the asset store and you click that link from Infinity PBR, it does put our affiliate link up here so that we get a small percent if you buy anything. It doesn't have to be our stuff. It can be anyone's stuff. But game modules, you can just do a search on the asset store and you'll find it. It's the blue one down here. And that's that. So, yeah. V4 will be coming out soon. This is Legend of the Stones that I was working on, and I am still probably working on it. But I am now working on V4 of this, which will go into Legend of the Stones either way. So, anyways, have a great night. Thank you for hanging out. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I appreciate it, and I appreciate you hanging out. So, have a great night. Thanks.